Hey guys, welcome to my rapid fire rogue build for Diablo 4. This build is extremely fun and you can one-shot bosses like you see here in my gameplay. If you're interested, stay tuned for the build here. Alright, so starting off, as you guys can see, I am not max level yet, I am only level 84. So I still have a lot of work here to do on the Paragon board, but first, let's go over the skill tree here. Skill tree is very simple. We are going to be taking puncture here with fundamental puncture, just 1 point there. Obviously we're maxing out the rapid fire, and it's really crucial here. We're going to go with improved rapid fire because that'll go along with our glyphs here. We're going to take sturdy and siphoning strikes, max that out to gain a little bit of resistance and tankiness while we're fighting close-end enemies. We're also going to be taking 3 points into weapon mastery. I'm not taking any other agility skills here just because I don't really see a point in it. Through here, we're going to be taking concealment, and then for the second perk here, we're going to be taking countering stealth. So whenever your next attack comes out of your stealth, it's going to be a guaranteed crit. And then we're going to take Dark Shroud here, also with each Dark Shroud granting you 4% movement speed. It's really nice to be able to maneuver around really fast with those. We're going to take Exploit here and Malice as well, so make sure you max those out. And then for the Abuse here, we're going to take 1 point here for Shadow Crash, 1 point for Consuming Shadows, just because it's a little nice to kind of to maintain your energy here whenever you're playing this build. We're going to max out Shadow Imbuement, grab Enhanced Shadow Imbuement, as well as Blended Shadow Imbuement. So that'll be nice. For vulnerable enemies, we'll explain that in a little bit. Next, we'll go with Poison Imbuement here. This is going to be your primary skill, and it's really important because this is your highest damaging skill here, or Imbuement. We're going to max this out, Enhanced Poison Imbuement, along with Blended Poison Imbuement. And then here, I also have 3 points into Deadly Venom, so we'll keep it at that. Precise or Precision Imbuement, we have 3 points in here. And then over here with the ultimate skill tree here, we don't take an ultimate just because we don't really need to use one here. But we'll take 1 point into Adrenaline Rush and then 3 points into Haste. So that'll be good for movement speed and attack speed eventually when we will need it. The passive here, we are going with Precision. Obviously, rapid fire works really well with this, so we'll just keep it on that. As far as the gear go and how this build works here, we are primarily going to want to be using Condemnation here. This is an ancestral unique dagger. You can see the passive here. Your core skills deal 36% when you're spending 3 combo points, so it's clear we are running combo points here for our specialization. And that is how we are going to get the massive rapid fire proc. Because then when you come, well, I can't find it here, but yeah, when you spend 3 combo points, your core skills do more damage. So we are pairing that with the rapid fire, which makes it very deadly here. In your affixes here, you want to make sure you look for crit strike chance, crit damage, core skill damage, vulnerable damage, all the good multiplicative stats here. So, like this weapon here, I have crit strike and vulnerable damage, which are multiplicative, and that works really well for this build. Vulnerable damage especially too, because we are running the exploit glyph, so it's really good there. But let me just run the gear stuff from the top down here. For the helmet here, it's really important that you find a helmet with +4 shadow imbuement and +4 poison imbuement too. That way we'll max do imbuement here. It'll really help in just terms of damage. So important to get those two imbuments there. For the chest plate, you can kind of, depending on how you play, I like to play more aggressive, so I don't really take any defensive stats, but yeah, ideally you want like marksman skill damage, poison damage, damage with ranged weapons, or damage stat roll overall. But like I said, you can go a little bit more defensive. So imprinted on this, it'll grant us a barrier whenever we damage an elite, which is great. That'll help with survivability, so important to grab that. For your gloves, you want to make sure you have +4 rapid fire here into your gloves. That'll increase the damage significantly. And then also the aspect here, make sure you imprint, have the imprint of when you deal increased damage while you have a barrier active. So that is important to have there. Here we are running temerity, obviously. We are trying to play off of the barrier here. So the bigger barrier we have, obviously is going to help with the uptime of the gloves aspect here, which we deal more damage while we have a barrier. So it's good to have. For your boots here, I like to go movement speed. I don't really need the energy cost reduction, but it just happens to be the best boot because it rolled intelligence and dexterity, and intelligence is very important for this build. So I just have these. Imprinted on this is critical strikes grant 8% movement speed for 1 second up to 6 seconds. And movement speed for this build is very crucial. For my weapon here, you want to imprint the aspect that skills will deal up to whatever percentage, depending on how much available primary resource you have when casting it. This is really good, so make sure you put this on your weapon instead of like a ring. You will get the max benefits of the aspect if you put on your weapon. Obviously, we're rolling for vulnerable damage and core skill damage, but you can't go wrong with the other multiplicative too, like the critical strike damage. So that's good. For your amulet, this is really important. Although we are not using the Rain of Arrows ultimate move, it is still a very important amulet to have, just because you can get the +3 rank of all unit skills. So with just the +3 there alone itself, that's a lot of damage in itself, and it'll help a lot with your rapid fire. And then you also get the multiplicative critical strike damage with imbued skills, which is nice. Also your non-physical damage, which is also considered imbued damage. So really good amulet to have. If you haven't found it yet, do a lot of hell tides. I'm sure you'll find one. As for the rings here, I have the aspect rapid fire has a percentage chance to ricochet to another target, which is great. It helps with mob clearing. It's not the best mob clearing class or core skill out there, but it gets the job done. Most of the dungeons in Diablo 4, they don't have a lot of mob density anyways, so it gets the job done with this aspect. For the other ring here, I do have the aspect that gives the potency against vulnerable enemies a 40% increase additive damage. That's really big there too. So that's where I'm going with that skill or aspect. And then for the weapon here, attacking enemies with the basic skill increases the core damage of your next core skill. So like I said, that ties hand to hand with the condemnation unique dagger here, just because we are building the 3 combo points before we spend it. That is where we get our burst window there. So very nice to have. It's a good 1-2 punch here. Goes together really well. So that's basically the gear setup. I know the attack power doesn't mean much, but it's at 9600. And we have about 6,000 health, almost 6,000 armor, so it's very doable. Right now I'm pushing about level 50 Nightmare Dungeons solo, and I can do that with ease. So very fun build. The clearing is not the best, but it is most satisfying when you can just walk into the boss room and just like practically one-shot the boss, as you guys saw in the beginning there. Next, we will get into the Paragon. So the Paragon here, we'll start out here. We'll pick up. You can come over here for maximum life if you want to play more defensive, but like I mentioned, this class is sort of like a sniper build. You just go in, delete an elite mob if you want, or delete the damage resistance purple guy, and then get out and do what you gotta do. So I don't really go too much into defensive, but if you like to be more defensive here, you can pick up these nodes here too. Nothing wrong with that. But we'll grab the damage node here. Obviously, my glyph here, it's maxed out. Um, the marksman ranger glyph here gives 94% marksman skill damage. It's additive damage, but it's really nice too. So 94, 92%, that's real huge. And then we'll grab these, like I said. I'm not big on this, but I do grab some sometimes just for survivability. It's necessary when you're doing high nightmare dungeons, right? So I grab that. They'll come up here. The next board I'll be using here is the Ultimate Skills Note Witness Paragon board here. Although I'm not grabbing this legendary node, they do have some really nice rare nodes here too. So like the damage here, 20% flat damage. That's huge. Maximum life here too. And like I said, intelligence is really important here because you see you get the another additional 10% damage if you meet the intelligence requirement, right? So real nice here. For here, I do have the glyph socket. I added combat in here. Your core skills deal increased critical strike damage for the more intelligence points you have in here inside the range of the glyph, which I will eventually come in, grab all of these intelligence nodes. But for now, I'm just kind of leaving it alone because I'm working towards my 5th Paragon board here. So that is that. And then we'll come up here. You'll grab this rare node. Really good node here. 50% damage to healthy enemies. So like I said, intelligence here, if you have the requirement, if you meet the requirement, you'll get an additional 25% damage to healthy enemies. And that is huge. So we'll come over here to this Paragon board. This Paragon board is the Eldritch Bounty Paragon board. Legendary node, obviously. When you attack with an Imbued skill, you gain 20% resistance and 20% increased damage for that imbuement element for 6 seconds. So there's really no loss on uptime at all when you are switching between your shadow and your poison imbuement. So massive, massive Paragon board here. As you can see, we'll grab the imbue damage here. Obviously, we meet the bonus requirement, so we get 30% imbue damage there. We'll work our way up here, grab the non-physical damage. That's also massive there. We get the imbue skill cooldown reduction there too, which is really good. And then we'll come unlock this glyph here. And then this glyph here, we will put infusion there as well. And as you can see, I have 60.9 imbue skill damage, which is massive. And then we'll come over here and grab this rare node over here too. So another 30% imbue skill damage. So we get just 60 alone from this board. Really, really good. We'll work our way up here next. And this next Paragon board is the cheap shot board here. If you play primarily with a party or a group of party, this board is really good. You can pick up like the rare nodes such as 15% damage to crowd control enemies, 30 here, and then you can see the critical strike damage if you meet the bonus, which is really good. But this build is more so focused on solo play. That's why I have decided to opt out on these rare nodes over here. Nothing wrong with that, but if you feel that you have good crowd control, you want to swap a skill out for a trap or a smoke grenade or something like that, feel free to pick these up. Really good nodes here too, but this is more geared towards solo play, so I'm not picking up any of these rare nodes here besides the damage to healthy enemies here. And then for this glyph socket here, really important here, we are going to be using vulnerable damage, the exploit glyph here. Whenever you deal damage to a vulnerable enemy with rapid fire, right, you will regenerate 15. Let's take a look at that. You will regenerate 15 energy back when you damage a vulnerable enemy. And with this exploit glyph here, you will mark an enemy vulnerable for 3 seconds. And that's huge. By the time you kill them, you know, you will regain all your energy back already. So this glyph is massive. Uh, can't stress it enough. It works really well for this build. So be sure to level it up to level 15. Very well worth it. I forgot to mention too, this combat glyph over here, it also restores 12% of your energy cost if you critical strike an enemy, which is really nice too. So in this case, that's why my armor set here, I don't really have any energy regeneration or maximum energy, any sort of that type, because it's not needed. I don't run out of energy. So I also have concealment, which gives me 40 energy whenever I use it. So not a big deal. Um, Other than that, I am working towards my 5th Paragon board. The more updates of that will come, later when I am a higher level here. But as for now, that is the full build. Um, so I hope you guys enjoy. This build is really fun. You can definitely one-shot some mobs, some elite bosses. It's really fun, and it's really rewarding whenever you play the class right. So have fun with the build, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did enjoy it, feel free to like and subscribe. Thank you.